Good morning to one and all present here. I am Nivedita, second year student of BSc Visual Communication. This symposium aims to explore the multifaceted nature of visual communication, examining impacts across the media. Saira Aslam. Saira Aslam is a strategic communication expert with excellent nose for the news and proven ability to leverage it. She holds the pride of serving as the youngest principal copy editor PTI, where she has reported and edited breaking news and stories on political and human interest issues besides the features. Ms. Saira is the founder and the CEO of D for Darzi. She has experience of working as the AGM in the Ex-Jindal Stainless and the assistant director in the Hindu. She was correspondent in APAC network and also as a digital producer in the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Her objective is to make significant contributions to the organization and achieve successful learning and innovation.
Hello everyone, I'm Saira. I've been a journalist, editor, strategic communications expert for about 15 years across different organizations in India and Australia. So, there's a lot more responsibility in what we communicate, the means that we choose to communicate. I have prepared a small presentation. If I can go ahead, Viji, sharing that presentation. So sure, what is corporate communications? More importantly, why do we need corporate communications? Communications, what it's supposed to do and what it's how it can improve, what could have been done better is thing to talk about. It has been debated enough. A lot of ladies in the room, the students would know the background. This is the official statement that came out from the company's corporate communications department, and again that added fuel to the fire. This is another example of corporate communications, but this is from the man himself, Anand Mahindra, and not the team per se. And yet again, example of a story on the Apple CEO, Tim Cook, following a strict routine, including eating at the same cafeteria most days. Experts say it's a driving factor behind his success. So consistency equal to Apple is what we have been imagining the brand to be. So it's more about the perception. And corporate communications and PR are not the same. PR is, and media management is a slice of a bigger cake that's corporate communications. To avoid controversies like that, to especially crisis communications that comes in. And I have a slide on that later. So I'll talk more about that later. There are two specific functions that corporate communication caters to. One is the internal function that's about employee engagement and the perception within the organization, within the employees. Is there well-being? Is there goodwill? Is there what's the perception of the brand among the employees? And there are different tools to engage the employees, internally. Then external function is completely different and is more focused towards anything outside the organization. Media happens to be the largest stakeholder here. And there are different exercises that corporate communications experts undertake to build public perception through external functions. They together constitute in strengthening things like brand awareness. So for example, when I was at Jindal Stainless, not many people knew what Jindal Stainless is and how different it is from Jindal Steel and Power. So brand awareness, category awareness, steel is not the same as stainless steel. So that was category awareness. Employee engagement, as I mentioned already, crisis communications, and media management is having good terms with mainstream media, regional media, and how they reach out to you rather than reporting anything one-sided. All this together leads to better public perception. As already touched upon by Anand, visual communication is an important aspect of corporate communication wherein the tools that we use, the visual tools that we use to communicate a certain message, it could be an image, it could be an infographic, it could be anything that engages you visually. And in today's era where videos are, the hot cake, the reels are the hot cake. So there are short form video content that people want to look at rather than a text article. We need to understand what we are issuing to the public at large. What messaging are we issuing? Is any sentence being taken out of context? As a journalist, as a communicator, also, I can't stress enough that the sentences that precede before a so-called sensational statement, we need to be very mindful of what we are putting out there. Messaging is supreme, and in visual communication and communication in general, storytelling and content, these are the two pillars on which any communication is based. In textbooks, we have learned about how we encode a message and how we decode it. But, what storytelling, what message, what is the news peg that you are choosing to the story? Is there a human interest, aspect that you can play up? Is there, say, a woman overhead crane operator that's unusual and, you can really use that as the headline? Anything of that sort that you think needs that needs to be the central aspect of the messaging is very important while communicating. Localized messaging is always effective, just as Veronica was sharing insights from the other part of the world. Brands are more about keeping it homogeneous in terms of the global brand presence and positioning and perception, but always, more often than not, localized messaging is the way to go when we use corporate communication or even media marketing. The tools that we use are important, but what is the content? Is it localized enough? What I experience as in Gurgaon is, polluted air. That may not be the case in Chennai as much, or in Bangalore, where traffic is more of a pain point. So when you engage the high points and low points of a localized kind, it is likely to stay more with the audience, the target group that you are looking at, and it is bound to be more effective. And again, the age of synthetic media, can't stress enough on that. Synthetic media is anything that is AI generated. Just as Anand was talking about this AI created video, or the voice that mimics your voice. There are cases of digital arrest taking the nation by storm, that prompted the Prime Minister to issue a statement here. It's a time to doubt all sources of information. As a journalist, we were told that there should be 3 points of view you should be looking at before, attempting to write something. And as a communicator in general, you need to look at different sources of information and different points of view. Not meaning to say that you justify each point of view. You can still write it in a way that you deem fit, that covers these aspects. It's important. What's important is the awareness of different points of view. The age of synthetic media is evolving. It will only become more complex, more complicated, given globalization and given tools and artificial intelligence coming handy so much to the generation now. I think this is something that can become a boon, and also is something to be very wary of. Crisis communications, nobody wants to use it, and yet it is the most powerful weapon that any organization has. What is their line of line of safety, line of fighting back is crisis communications. If anything goes wrong, this comes to the fore. Again, thank you for your time. This was just going to be a brief introductory session, and I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn and on email if you have any further questions. communications?
To improve their media marketing to connect their audience in better way.
Okay, sure. Thank you for asking that question. So, media marketing talks about the tools in, you know, uh, the tools that the tools in media that are used to market an idea, a product, and they go hand in hand. There are intersections between corporate communications and media marketing, and it's important to first know your product well enough so that you know what can actually build a story, what can form that story that you can take forward to the public.
I'll search or you have. She has a question to ask. Anyone?
Does that answer your question, or would you need more clarity?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Uh, Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So, ma'am, how can students leverage digital marketing platforms like Instagram and YouTube or LinkedIn to build professional portfolios while still they're pursuing their studies?
Wow, I'm so glad you asked that. I think now is the time to take it very seriously, and I'm sure the your generation is actually very proactive with new tools and with the new age of communication. Platforms like LinkedIn, for example, they are an excellent way to connect with people in your industry, outside your industry, people that are of your interest. It totally depends on what exactly is the product or the idea that you are smitten with. There are some platforms that are there are some products that are better suited for, say, Instagram. Facebook is not so popular at the moment. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but LinkedIn, Instagram, Reels, all these things are really, really taking the limelight right now. And it's important to have a professional presence out there, and you can refine the profiles after looking at the industry experts. But that will only happen when you take the first step and improvement. We keep. I just tweaked the profile headline for LinkedIn this morning, but there is always something that you learn from fellow content creators, from fellow experts on these platforms that help you network and be you can be an introvert and you can excel at networking. You can be an introvert and you will have different strengths on that front. So I think it totally depends on your interest first and the platform that you are comfortable with, but it's important to take that first step.